bit. Ooh, a fusion core from Maru. Hello. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, this is one of the largest maps in StarCraft 2, and this is one of those maps where it feels like whenever we watch TVZ on this, I mean, I'm thinking about, I can even remember like Tasia Rogue on this map, we're just being the super, super ultra late game TVZ where it really went down the wire. I feel like Eternal Empire, this could potentially be just like Everdream. One of those very late games from Maru and Reynor, because we know that Reynor already wants to go to that late game. He wants to go to Hive. And this map kind of just naturally lends us those games because it's just hard to finish another player off. Yeah, this is an interesting build here from Maru. It really does look like a Hellbat Battlecruiser tactical jump timing, like something where they all arrive at the same time and they're just trying to break the back of the Zerg before their defenses are solid. Okay, we're zooming on a critter there. It's a sexy critter, so I understand. Thank you, Maru. We have that engineering bay going down for Maru as well, so he is going to continue to try. You know, this isn't an all-in or anything, but it is very, very committed. It's a ton of resources. I'm very interested in see how this works. This is a lot of Hellbats warding, and a BC is going to arrive.
And Reynor actually spends a lot of his money on the mutas right away. I don't disagree with the mutas. I think they're a good choice, but it does feel like you need some Banelings. He has to cancel one, cancels two, so now he's only got 2 Banes on the way up, and this build is just really, really good against mutas, which are coming up, because there's just nothing to fight the Hellbats. Queen's already going down. Oh, 15 drones!
The stacked drones, 15 die there. Maru splitting those Hellbats as well as he can. Still takes connections on 4 of them there. Obviously, the mutas are going to clean up the Hellbats, but it feels like the damage that he intended to do has been done. The Battlecruiser still getting a few more drones here. Obviously, it's been tactical jumped across the map, so its life is forfeit. Good micro from Reynor there as well, using that, just grabbing the hurt mutas and moving to the back of the pack to make sure the BC goes down without taking any mutas down, but 17 drones, Wardy. I mean, the onus is now on Maru to not take any damage from the mutalist counterattack.
Okay, so the good news is for Reynor, we can actually really compare this to the earlier series against Special, where the third is late because it's so many Hellbats, right? So the third isn't in orbital yet. It's not in position. He has killed the first Battlecruiser, and Maru wants to keep building Battlecruisers. So as Reynor gets his drone count back up, there are other positives for him here, as right now he might be looking to overwhelm this kind of muta-zergling force. The biggest issue is going to be against some of these Hellions. Love this target fire on the depots, though, opening up the space, but also it's actually going to put Maru into supply block, and that does hurt him a bit as the next BC shows up. This one has a teleport, so it's a little bit harder to justify jumping onto that. He doesn't quite get the depot, and the SCV is a moment too late.
I mean, that's the moment where I let out a grunt of frustration whenever I play my ladder games, when the depot is just so close to being repaired and it burns down. A goop there on the starport as well, slumming down Battlecruiser production, but Maru was supply blocked there for a little bit anyway, so the BC wasn't in production. But anyway, we do have mech from Maru. Like I said, he's not a guy that I don't think of mech when I see Maru. He has played it before, of course, when Battle Mech was all the rage. He was definitely doing it along with every other Terran in this matchup, but we're seeing it again, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, it really is, but how much of it are we going to get to see? Because it feels like Reynor's ready to come into this fight. He's already running Lings by into the natural, and mutas loop back into the back of this mineral line. Hellions run in to the natural, which means that then the Lings are able to come into the third. Maru's handling it pretty well so far, honestly. A couple of the mutas are going down. Well, there's still actually the Lings in the natural. I thought they were already dead, so maybe some more opportunity for Reynor, but it feels like the mutas have been a little bit less successful the last few moments. Love all these missile turrets in position, helping out a lot.
Yeah, Reynor getting a good chunk of SCVs there, but definitely losing quite a bit of army supply. Like, those Lings were actually stacked on top of each other fighting that Cyclone, so the Hellions had an easy time to splash damaging them down and taking them down. And the economy of Reynor, not really where he'd like it to be. He's still in Tier 2 as well because he's dedicated so much to Tier 2. And we have seen no upgrades from the Zerg whatsoever. You know, no Evo Chamber upgrades. The Evo Chambers are just 2/3 of the way done now. Speaking of compositions, how do you feel about Maru's right now? He's going into quite a bit of Thor production and starting to throw in Widow Mines into a sort of a very light battle mech force. Like, most of his resources, I feel, are still in the sky with these BCs. It looks like he's not going to move out for quite a while. He's just going to sit here and let Reynor come to him.
Yeah, I like it because the style Reynor is playing, right? You need the Thors. You can't let the BCs be overrun. I think defensively it's great, and when it gets maxed out, this arm composition is terrifying. Let's see how well he deals with this attack now. A few Banes do make their way to the mineral line. He gets 7 SCVs to start. The mutas just die for the Thors. There's still more Banelings coming, as now 19 SCVs have gone down. Well, the mutas keep on committing, and there's still Banelings left. They turn around, though, and going through the Battlecruiser fire is expensive. He's going to find he gets to 28 kills! What?
Oh my god! All right, well, it looks like Reynor doesn't lose this matchup anymore, I guess. It doesn't matter who the Terran is. He found incredible damage there with those Banelings. The Mutalisks just a thorn in the side of Maru, while the Banelings did the critical damage there at that third base. Absolutely insane. And the economy of Reynor back up at 92. In fact, not even back up, it's just made it to 92. Sees the Widowmine lock on Unburrow there from Maru, rather, and he's really on the back foot.
Yeah, Maru is struggling because I actually think if these Banes get through, this next wave of units might just be very deadly. There's one siege tank at the moment. I mean, what's one siege tank going to achieve in all of this? There's so many Lings, they can just wrap around the Thors as well. Few Banes making their way to the natural. Okay, he does take down the majority of them, but now the Mutas show up because the Thors are busy elsewhere. The BCs will be a major help in this. It's still crazy because there's extra Banes showing up all over the place. 22 SCVs lost once a game. The third base is dead, and Reynor.
It's a Battlecruiser opening again. Fusion core going down.
All day.
Oh, savagery. So savage. Battlecruiser picks up a single drone kill before being ushered away.
Oh.
Meanwhile, a Zergling run by into the
no.
natural. This is not good news.
Nope. Well, that's an understatement. The Lings even get into the main base. HeroMarine is really playing just a sloppy series at this point. He's taking a lot of damage. Look at how many SCVs are being pulled. Dude, 5 minutes, the Battlecruiser in the main base.
Stays alive.
He's living at least.
He's got 3 kills on the Battlecruiser this time, but you're right. There's been a lot of damage done. Economically, it's 62 drones to 40 SCVs. And is that third command center done yet? It is. It is. Not an orbital, but becoming one soon.
It's very bad for Gabe. There's no other way to put it. Like, he was supposed to be the one dealing damage here.
Yeah.
Instead, I feel like it's Reynor who's the one who's been dealing damage. More SCVs died and drones went down. I mean, let that sink in.
That's bad news.
I see a second factory.
Wait a second.
Oh my goodness. He's playing mech. Take that, Hearthstone. I mean, I don't care that he's super dead in this game at all. Mech is mech, baby.
Now, is
we
it
win.
mech
True or
if
false?
no mech units come out before the game ends?
Mate, all I see is Hellions and Battlecruisers. They're pretty mechanical.
I think we're gonna have to give it to you, Kev. Zergling run by up into the main once again is probably not gonna scout. If there's a whole bunch of factories going down, we see a Spire finishing up now for Reynor, so a little bit of mid-game Muta play.
Yeah, I mean, if he knows what he's going up against, could also just go Corruptus. Corruptus is a pretty good way in dealing with BCs. It's a bit risky to go Mutas, but apparently Reynor feels like he's far enough ahead that he's like, it's okay, we can just play some Muta Ling here.
There it
Does
is.
Reynor even know that he's going to go up against Mech? I have the feeling Reynor doesn't know. I also have the feeling Reynor doesn't care, just because he knows. His opening was so damn good that he probably feels that he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Man,
Still
he's so ahead. He's on 80 drones right now. HeroMarine has secured a third base, so his eco's starting to come along. On the production tab, we just see Battlecruiser for our Terran player. And not a whole lot else. So, it feels bad, man. Battlecruiser's trying to make their way into the third base. They're going to scout these Mutalisks, so that's going to kind of show Reynor's hand. We'll see what HeroMarine does in response to that. These BCs have a lot of hit points. They're going to do a decent amount of harass here. A couple of Yamato cannons going to kill a couple of these Mutas, thinning the herd. Here come the Queens, and the Battlecruiser is going to be ushered out once again.
I gotta say, these BCs have been the most successful thing for Gabe in quite some time. They're also just keeping HeroMarine on, or excuse me, keeping Reynor on his side of the map. And that's nice for once as well, that Gabe can just kind of do his own thing, get his production up and running. I gotta say, he's being adventurous with the BCs. He does have tactical jump, and he is going to jump home now. I'm not exactly sure why we dragged the Mutas into the position where we want to attack with our Hellions, but other than that, I think that went all right for Gabe.
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, it's been a tough early game for HeroMarine, but if we look at resources lost, it's 700 to 2,000, which those are the kinds of trades that HeroMarine's going to need to have for the rest of the game if he wants to claw his way back. It's 94 drones to 70 SUV. At some point, you have to ask, has he overdone it? Certainly, these are going to turn into spore crawlers and spine crawlers, right?
Yeah, you'd think that, but then I've casted games of Reynor on this map where he's got 112 drones, and no, they're crazy, especially when you want to play Muta Ling Bane. You can just make non-stop units, and you can just run Banelings wave after wave into mech units. Like, playing Muta Ling Bane against mech is not ideal, it's suboptimal. But if you're 3 times richer than your opponent, you can actually eventually get enough banelings to just blow all of them up. But to do that, play that style, you need an absolutely insane economy. And yeah, 94 drones is definitely it. These banelings will connect with these marines on creep. The Hellions won't really get anything done. Gabe just needs more units, man. He just doesn't have enough here.
Yeah, it feels like he's a little bit overextended to have as small of an army as he does. For a moment, it looked like he could put some pressure on Reynor, but those Zerglings and Banelings cleaning up everything on the ground. Battlecruiser's still trying to make something happen. Yamato cannons on Mutalisks. One BC, did it jump away or did it die?
Yeah, it jumped away.
Jumped. That's a cute little micro. As the last two BCs sneak out of there, resources lost show 2.5k to 5k.
Look at the work account now, Ben, and look at the drone production tab.
Oh, come
We're
on.
going up to 113!
Holy smokes. There's just no more room for regular units. It's 19 mutas, 25 Zerglings, and that's a maxed out army, Kev.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious. Okay, we have a couple of Banelings morphing as well, so that will make it a bit better. But yeah, Reynor's maxed out army. It's terrible because he's got 13 queens. Hello. But he's got 26 supply of queens. That has to be a bit too much.
This could mess him up. Like honestly, this Terran army is going to get really, really scary. Ooh, a couple of Widow mines.
Flying over mines.
Ooh, that's going to thin out a little bit of that Zerg supply. His mutas are going to be forced to run away. They're not going to want to fight with half health. And we see more drones on the production tab.
Look at that income of Reynor though, it's insane.
Yeah.
4,200 minerals a minute, 1,800 gas a minute. He's mining 2.5k resources
now
more per
2k
minute.
gas, that's insane. Muta's going to fly forward and challenge these Battlecruisers once again. Looks like we will finally lose a first BC, but not before they thin out those Mutas a little bit more. Production tab shows more Zerglings and more Mutas. Oh, and Banelings making their way into the expansion of HeroMarine, picking up a few SCV kills. HeroMarine, though, has got a ton of workers himself. He's on 77 SCVs and obviously quadruple orbital or triple orbital. That means he can drop a lot of mules.
No, Gabe economically is fine, and I do like what you said about the army supply, though. It's like Reynor having a crazy amount of drones, like this is an absolute trap down. That's cool and all, but then you need to always be fighting on HeroMarine's side of the map. Now Gabe is actually bringing the fight to Reynor, and I think that he could actually be in a bit of trouble. Like even with all these Banelings finishing up, he's gonna have 28 Banelings. Is that going to be enough?
I don't know, man. It really feels like there's not enough Zerg here to fight against this Terran army. Those Banelings had great connections on the Hellbats, but look at all this mech army pushing forward. And there are a ton of mutas though. The muta count is way up. Well, now down to just, what the hell is happening? Down to 13. The muta's clumping up for the Thor. And now Reynor really starting to feel it. 195 Zerg supply to 173. HeroMarine knocking at the front door.
Yep, still a couple of Cyclones in the mix. Muta's coming forward one more time, but more Cyclones showing up in the back line. Yamato's connecting with these Mutas. I mean, Gabe can definitely not turn around. He needs to keep pressure on. This is all the Zerglings showing up are actually starting to become a little bit too much. Reynor is down in supply for the first time, but he will clean this up. I mean, we gotta be honest though, at the cost of losing 10,000 resources more.
I mean, he lost 30 drones there, Kev. Normally that'd be terrible, but he still has 94 workers.
It was a good thing, but he's like, no, I need more. Like, Reynor is addicted to droning.
Yeah. Droning and trading and expanding everywhere. He somehow took 3 more bases during all that fighting. But not without Gabe realizing it. Hellions finding this one down at the 9 o'clock position.
If we had like a few more Widow Mines coming in, or just one more Thor, a few Hellbats that survived. It's mostly the reinforcing Zerglings that got on top of the Cyclones. And then once the Cyclone count went down, I think all the Mutas that Reynor was producing just non-stop were eventually enough to overwhelm that mech force. But at least we have a game. This game is definitely a few more competitive than the first two we saw.
It's not over yet. 31 mutas though, and their +2 attack is on the way. So those mutas going to be doing a ton of damage. Oh wow! This.
Well, so do the Widow Mines, man.
Yeah, yes, you're right about that. Only 5 mutas going down, but they're still going to do a ton of damage. They're going to try and pick off this expansion, and they will not. What a crazy fight that was. The Muta's just hanging out a little bit too long, down to 22 Mutalisks in that army. They're clumped up.
Yeah. Imagine if the mines would fire again. Reynor playing with fire there.
Yeah,
Reynor does
definitely.
keep his bases safe on the left side. I'm just keeping an eye on the production tab of Reynor, and I've been mesmerized by it. It's absolutely stunned. I feel like every time I look, he's building 14 mutas at once. I'm like,
Yeah.
where the hell is he getting all that money from? It's like, oh yeah, like
He's got 100
plus drones. Double rich Vespian gas. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess it makes sense. Mutas will get on top of the Hellbats, and the Cyclones are gonna try to get on top of the Battlecruisers and the Thors as well. Plus 2 mutas.
Oh,
Seems like
man.
it's good enough again.
These are crazy fights, man. These guys are really just trading blows in the middle of the map, and despite the fact that HeroMarine has killed so many more resources worth of units, 10,000 more units killed or more resources killed, he's still at a 20 supply deficit, doing his best. But here comes another huge fight. Zerglings, Banglings, and Mutas, and this might clean up the last of HeroMarine's army.
Yeah, Baneling's actually connecting with all the Cyclones, and the Thor indeed getting picked up. That means that everything will fall. And now there is a Thor misrallied. Maybe we've got a couple of Widow Mines that can keep Gabe alive a little bit longer. One of those Widow Mine shots was good. But the Muta count is indeed still pretty outrageous. Baneling's connecting with the SCVs there as well.
What a game.
Reynor has played a reckless game, but actually seems like it's going to be good enough.
Unbelievable, just throwing units at HeroMarine all game long, and it worked out. What a crazy game, and what a way to be rewarded for going up to 120 drones. I cannot believe that works.
Reynor lost 91 mutas in a 16-minute game, and it's good enough for the victory, as he still has 33 mutas after that.